Hello everyone, and welcome to my updated melee weapon tier list for Victor Saltzpyre. I waited until Warrior Priest dropped to make this list, and now we have all the weapons, all 13 of them, and I'm going to rank them from tier D to tier S and explain why. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off in D tier, I only have one weapon for you, that is the axe. The first, second, and third light attacks and the push attack all get a plus 10% crit chance. This weapon shines against armor, with its two heavies clocking in both at 0.53 seconds. However, this weapon has absolutely no cleave modifiers, which holds its light attacks that get that plus 10% crit chance back against hordes. It serves a role for elite killing, but is often overshadowed. Bumping up to C tier, I've got the Greatsword. The Greatsword has 3 stamina shields, a 10% dodge bonus, and a 3 dodge count. The first light attack, second light attack, and push attack all get the linesman mass modifier. Now if you don't know what mass modifiers are, these are modifiers that weapons have. There are 3 of them: linesman, heavy linesman, and tank. And what they do is they affect the mass of enemies for that specific attack. And it essentially allows a weapon to cleave through more things. So linesman obviously wouldn't let you cleave through as much as heavy linesman, and then tank is the one for armor, so you can cleave through armor. So having these are very, very beneficial. The first and second heavy attacks both get the heavy linesman modifier, so more mass reduction, aka more cleave. This weapon is very good for hordes and infantry type enemies. However, its attacks are quite slow, and a bit of a lack of armor damage kind of make this weapon one-dimensional, but generally you can make up for this with a range weapon. Alright, now we're up to B tier, and I've got the Saltzpyre and Shield. This weapon is exclusive to Warrior Priest, and it has 5 stamina, a 0% dodge bonus, and a 2 dodge count. The first light attack, second light attack, and second heavy attack all get the tank modifier, which allows you to attack multiple armored targets at once. That's really good. Tank is the best mass modifier you can get. And then the third light attack also gets the tank modifier, as well as a plus 10% crit chance. The popular combo with this weapon is a push attack, which chains into a third light attack. So a nice easy headshot followed by a uppercut attack that pierces through armor and gets extra crit chance. This weapon is pretty much a staple on a lot of classes for killing elites. Its shield bash allows you to make lots of temp health, as you can use this on Warrior Priest with his staggering for THP. So it gives you some survivability, gives you some elite clear. Not the best weapon for, infantry and hordes and stuff, but it'll serve the role. Personally, I don't think this weapon fits all that well on Warrior Priest. I think he can do better than just kind of like pushing rats around and killing elites personally. So for that reason, I think the fit of this weapon on Warrior Priest holds it back a little bit. So I've got it in the B tier. Next up in B tier, I've got the Saltzpyre Hammer. Now this weapon is as close to a shield as you can get without actually having a shield. It's got 4.5 stamina, just half a stamina shy of the Saltzpyre and Shield, as we just saw with 5. 4.5 stamina, 20% dodge bonus, and a 3 dodge count. The first light attack, second light attack, and push attack all get the tank modifier. The third light attack gets a plus 10% crit chance and a tank modifier, similar to the weapon we just looked at before. This weapon has really good stagger force on all those attacks I just mentioned, the first 2 light attacks and the push attack. Now in my Warrior Priest tier list video, I had this weapon in the C tier, and while I do think it is kind of a slightly below average weapon on Warrior Priest, Zealot can use this weapon, and he raises the ceiling of this weapon in my opinion. On Zealot, I think this is a really, really fun weapon, because it gives him much more tankiness and still pretty much the same amount of offense that he's always had. With insane temp health generation, this weapon deserves to be played on Zealot. Next up in the B tier, I've got the Falchion. The Falchion has 3 stamina shields, a 25% dodge bonus, and a 4 dodge count. Every single attack from the Falchion gets a linesman modifier, and they're also really freaking fast. Tremendous weapon for hordes, and just about okay to, alright, I guess you could say, for elites. For light attacks, it relies on a headshot from that third light attack to be able to kill elites. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely on those heavy attacks, which do pretty good damage on par with the axe. The only downside of this weapon really is that there's not a ton of stagger, and the first two light attacks don't do a whole lot of damage. This is a pretty solid B tier weapon. The final weapon I have in B tier today is the Flail. The Flail has 3 stamina shields, a 15% dodge bonus, and a 4 dodge count. The first light attack, second light attack, push attack, first heavy attack, and second heavy attack all get the tank modifier, which is the best one you can get. This weapon is mainly used for its heavy attacks, which do good damage to both infantry and armor. They happen to ignore shields, which is a little bit of a plus, and they have a ton of stagger. So it's a really good weapon for someone like Zealot, and a really bad weapon for someone like Bounty Hunter. The heavy attacks also have some good speed, however, this weapon sorta lacks a little bit of defense. Moving up to A tier, I've got the Skull Splitter and Blessed Tome. This weapon has 3 stamina shields, a 20% dodge bonus, a 3 dodge count. All the light attacks get a plus 10% critical strike chance and the tank modifier. The push attack also gets a tank modifier. This weapon can do it all, and when I say it can do it all, I literally mean it can do it all. It could probably cook you breakfast if you wanted. The tome part of this weapon can be charged by holding down either your attack button or what I think is probably a little bit more convenient, your alt fire button. And when charged, there are 2 separate heavy attacks you can do. The first one is a dash, which allows you to combat specials, life leeches and assassins, light stormers, things like that. And then the second heavy attack is an AoE slam, which is really good for hordes and even pretty good for elites, I think. The downside is the light attacks are all pretty slow, but the push attack and heavies are fast with good stagger and good armor damage. This is a really good second slot weapon to run on Warrior Priest. Next up in A tier, I have the Axe and Falchion. The Axe and Falchion has 3 stamina shields, a 20% dodge bonus, and a 4 dodge count. Only the push attack gets a linesman modifier. However, this weapon is fast and deals good damage to both armor and infantry. Plus, you look cool dual wielding. The biggest boon to this weapon is that it is extremely player friendly. Using the Axe and Falchion could also be described as mindless, which some could find boring, but the upside of that is that literally anyone can use this weapon and do pretty well. And that's it for A tier, guys. The rest of these weapons all belong in S tier. The first one I have is the Holy Great Hammer. This weapon has 3 stamina shields, a 0% dodge bonus, and a 2 dodge count. The third light attack and first heavy attack all get plus 10% crit chance and a tank modifier. The second heavy attack and third heavy attack also get tank. The weapon has really high damage and really high stagger. However, the lights are a bit slow, clocking in at 0.78 seconds. That's almost Warpick territory here. However, like the one-handed hammer, Zealot pushes the ceiling of this weapon up. I did have it in A in my Warrior Priest tier list, if you remember that. On Zealot, this weapon is absolutely phenomenal. The increased attack speed and damage shreds through pretty much everything. This weapon could be described as godly. Next up, I have the Rapier. The Rapier has 3 stamina shields, a 25% dodge bonus, and a 6 dodge count. The Rapier has no extra cleave or crit, but it is one of the fastest weapons in Vermintide 2, with all of its attacks except its third light attack clocking in at 0.36 seconds or better. So the speed kind of makes up for the low light attack damage, and pressing your alt fire button will allow you to shoot a ranged sidearm. A crit from the sidearm, if you're running it, can proc Swift Slang, and a single use of this sidearm, if you're running it, can proc parry, making the Rapier pretty dang good for both offense and defense. The only thing really to mention about the Rapier is that its heavy attacks are quite reliant on headshots to be able to deal with armor. But since they can't really break your guard if you're running parry, it's kind of not a big deal if you miss. Next up, I've got the Paired Skull Splitters. The Paired Skull Splitters have 4 stamina shields, a 15% dodge bonus, and a 3 dodge count. All the light attacks and the second heavy attack and third heavy attack get the tank modifier. This weapon has tremendous stagger and pretty good damage, coupled with serviceable defense. It's really good on Warrior Priest and even better on Zealot. Try it out. Speaking of weapons that are good on Zealot, Next up, I have the Billhook. The Billhook has 3 stamina shields, a 15% dodge bonus, and a 3 dodge count. The second light attack and the push attack get a linesman modifier. This weapon has pretty decent speed, but really high damage. It's quite solid for both hordes and elites. It also has an alt fire mode, similar to that of the Rapier. Using this mode will execute a pull down, which will stagger any enemy, Chaos Warrior and below, sorry, no staggering monsters, at the cost of half a stamina shield. It'll even pull down the shield of a shield vermin, leaving them exposed to your inevitable down slam attack. This weapon is a ton of fun. And finally, in S tier, I've got the Flail and Shield. This weapon has 4 stamina shields, a 15% dodge bonus, and a 3 dodge count. The first light attack, second light attack, push attack, first heavy attack, and second heavy attack all get the tank modifier. And like the Flail, the heavies are the main attraction here. Something to note, you block while holding a heavy attack, much like the Bretonnian longsword. The Flail part of the weapon, of course, ignores shields and staggers quite a bit. The damage from those heavy attacks is the same as the regular Flail. So that's my list, guys. In S tier, I had the Flail and Shield, the Holy Great Hammer, the Rapier, the paired Skull Splitters, and the Billhook. In A tier, I had the Skull Splitter and Blessed Tome, and the Axe and Falchion. In B tier, I had the Skull Splitter and Shield, the Skull Splitter Hammer, the Falchion, and the Flail. In C tier, I had the Greatsword, and then down in D tier, I had the one-handed axe. Guys, if you like this video, feel free to subscribe to this channel, leave a comment down below, and leave a like. I also have a Discord, link is in the description down below. I strongly urge that you join us. We have over 1,200 people in there. If you're looking for people to play Vermintide with, there's usually at least a couple actives in there. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video.